What is up, guys? Zan from the Zan Madden YouTube channel. And the under center rollout glitch is nothing new to Madden, but it is something that is seeing a little bit of a resurgence this year, and for good reason. It's basically a setup that allows you to call a variety of under center formations. You have the threat of the run, the pass, the RPO, but then you also have the ability to break pocket anytime you want. This is especially useful against players that like to rush for or base rush in general. Heck, it's even good against the dollar meta because players can't really slot blitz either due to terrible pursuit angles off the edge by blitzing players and even defensive end or outside linebacker contains. This leads to a lot of players being very frustrated in the community, wondering how exactly you can slow down this particular tactic. Now, I'm not going to focus on exactly what you need to do to pull this off all the time in terms of breaking contain, but we are going to focus on the counter or one of many counters that you guys can find against this particular tactic. So before we do that, if you could do me a quick solid, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell so you're notified of all the uploads here on the Zan Madden YouTube channel. I upload 5 times a week with uploads in the morning, long form, and shorts in the afternoon, so check those out as well. The thing about this particular meta is that it's not just one formation that you typically see this out of. You'll see this out of some compression under center. It could be a under center bunch nasty. It could be an ace personnel like wing stack, which is probably what most players tend to run because of Ace's propensity to prevent a lot of defenses from having read and react AI against the run game. But in general, you guys can utilize this defensive countermeasure out of pretty much any formation you want. We're gonna run a little bit of wing stack under center. This is like vintage rollout glitch, if you will.
Ron, are you okay? Ron.
And the adjustment we are going to use is to run our curl flats on 0. Now, there's gonna be a specific position to run this adjustment out of that I'm gonna break down here later in the video, so make sure you guys hang around here. What we're gonna do here is just kind of choose any defense you want with a purple zone stock. Remember, we've already set that to 0. So right here, we've got this cover 3 defense, and I am going to set up a rollout to the right side. Now, again, depending on contains or whatever, you will do a variety of different things that will seal the edge rusher. We're not going to worry so much about that here in this video. Now, keeping in mind that the purple zones are set to 0, what we're going to do is utilize these zones as basically an advanced or a zone version of a quarterback spy. So in general, right-handed quarterbacks like to roll right. That doesn't mean that players won't roll to the opposite side of their handedness, but you can kind of predict that they are going to typically roll out to their arm strength to avoid crossbody inaccurates when throwing down the right sideline. Knowing that Ryan Neal here in this purple zone is going to be set to 0 yards, he's basically going to run straight to the numbers and kind of stand right here. Now, the mechanic of sending the spy is actually send the closest player in a coverage assignment at the quarterback. So what we've done essentially is make the curl flat the closest assignment to the rollout. What you're going to do is you're going to click in the right analog stick to send that zone as soon as they break contain. So when I go to do this here, we're going to click that button to send that player as soon as they break contain. So it doesn't matter if they get outside of the contain. We are actually using a zone to prevent this from happening. And this is a perfect example right here. You're going to see that my defensive end, JJ Watt, cannot keep contained leverage on them because of the way that they roll out. But I've got this guy in the 0-yard flat, and I just click the stick to send him, and he's going to cut off that rollout lane and make them have to throw the ball early. The other thing that you should consider with this adjustment is that they are going to be under duress with this player pursuing the quarterback. So if they let this rip without gutsy scrambler, there is a chance that they will throw an inaccurate. And if they're throwing a crossing route, a corner route, there's a chance that that's overthrown, left over the middle where a zone player can make a break on that and potentially pick it off. You might be able to force 1, maybe 2 of these a game that could the script and get you that turnover that you're looking for. So this is a really, really cheeky way of dealing with this. But I understand that there's a lot of you that don't necessarily want to have to play those players in the purple zone. You really want that safety to be playing coverage. So let's talk about another way that you guys can do this. We are going to go back into our coaching suggestions. Let's, instead of using curl flats as our zone drop, let's instead go ahead and set our flats to 0. I'm going to set my curl flats to whatever. We could leave them default, doesn't matter. In fact, really, if you want to, you can set your flats to, 30 for your zone drop. and then set your curl flats to 0. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to go about this, and this is the part of the video that I want to kind of get at for you guys. Now, before I break down this advanced adjustment, I want you guys to make sure that you check out gridirongameplans.gg. All year long, we have been focused on the meta, or the most effective tactics available, of which this is one of those metas that you will face online. If you guys struggle with the most popular ways that players play the game, the Vault is the perfect place to go on Gridiron. It is a ever updated database focused on the pro metas and how to counter them. You guys also unlock access to our game plans, which are full schemes that will allow you to kind of learn the ins and outs of Madden, at which point you can apply the Vault tips to kind of improve your game and start winning at a higher level. You guys will also get access to our members only Discord, where we have lab sessions every single week, keeping you on top of the meta and answering your questions about the game or tips on the site that maybe you don't quite understand. So make sure you guys go check it out. It's only $9.95 a month, far and away the best deal in the tip space. Go check it out. This is one of those tips that comes from Gridiron, and there's so much more. In fact, I put a different tip out yesterday that I think you guys will rather like as well. So right here, what we're going to do is we're going to call cover 3, and we are going to change our purple zones to blues, which is going to put them in a zone drop state. So let's go ahead and run that same rollout. We come out on defense, and I don't want those 0 yards for Ryan Neal. I want him to play 30. So I shade my coverage down. That's going to change my purples to blues, activating the zone drop set with the blues. But now we don't have a purple anymore. So you have a bunch of different options. First of which, you could go ahead and put that defensive end into a curl flat. That's something you could do if you want to. If you want to contain with him and hope that you can keep that contained, fine. Go ahead and put your inside linebacker into the curl flat. This is going to make him fly down. Whatever you feel comfortable with this is up to you. For a lot of players, they're going to want to lurk on this linebacker, so JJ Watt in this particular purple zone is going to be the best way to go about it. Again, with this particular trick, we're almost at this point kind of baiting them into this rollout, because we're not going to rush JJ Watt. We're just going to say, you know what, go cover the flat. So now when they go to do their rollout, there's nobody on the edge to kind of glitch out, but the premise is still going to be the same. So you are going to notice that as soon as we do this rollout, we're going to get out wide, and then we're going to click the stick to send JJ Watt. Now, the problem is sometimes when you put these players that are on the perimeter, especially your defensive ends, into purple zones, they will do a quick reroute of a tight end off the line. And this kind of hurts the ability to run this at the level that we want. In fact, you see right here, rather than getting out quickly to the flat, JJ Watt is getting a reroute on the tight end, which allows them to get out wide. I wanted to show this because this is something that is going to lead towards the more advanced tip here that I want to show you. So the position on the field at which you are dropping a defensive lineman into a purple matters. Let's go back real quick, and I'm going to show you guys a different formation. For instance, maybe dollar. And with this dollar defense, we're going to go ahead and pinch. And I'm gonna, just for the sake of this video, I'm gonna put A into a vert hook, and I'm gonna lurk on this guy, expecting them to kind of roll out to the right and try to chuck that corner. Now, the thing with this is that what you're gonna notice is that I can take this defensive tackle, if you will, it's still a D end, but he's in tighter, where when I put him into this purple zone, he's going to be able to fly out a little bit without jamming somebody. So when they go to do this rollout, what you'll see is he's already out there. Now I go ahead and click the stick to send him, and he's able to make that pursuit angle far easier. Now, again, I understand I'm trying to roll out with one controller and try to send the spy on another. I need 2 hands to do the rollout, so it's tough for me to do this in a timely manner. But when you're in a game, all you're doing is keying the quarterback. As soon as you see them do this, boom, you spam that right stick, and JJ Watt is going to cut off that rollout. At this point in time on this play, you don't have the ability to throw your rollout corner. It's not open yet. It hasn't gotten deep enough. So now you're forcing this throw under duress. There's a zone in the area. The user's obviously going to be lurking in the middle of the field, taking away that shallow cross. Maybe it's a running back wheel, cutting up out of the backfield. You've got a lot of different ways you can do this, but there's even more that you can do here with this. I'm going to activate a package in the nickel over, such as free safety inside. What this actually does is it subs your starting defensive ends into defensive tackle. So at face value, this looks like Bakhtiari and Aiden Hutchinson. But as you know, you guys can sub in outside linebackers at defensive end. So let's specifically target Aiden Hutchinson. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put in Harold Carmichael. Harold Carmichael being very, very fast. And the cool thing about this is that, let's say that we've got our zone drops, again, still set to 30 and our curl flat set to 0. What we're going to do here is we are going to maybe run this cover 3. And here in this example, we're going to try to set up our rollout. The thing that's really cool is now with Hutchinson out of the game and Carmichael in, you'll note here that because the game is considering this to be a defensive end, you now get defensive end hot routes, which include curl flats, vert hooks, seam flats, hard flats, man covered, spy, bluff blitz, and blitz. If we were to compare this to the regular package where a D tackle would normally be, so we reset this package and come back out, you're going to note that on this defensive tackle, which is now Carter, you'll note that the D tackle gets D tackle hot routes, which are all kinds of different hooks and bluff blitzing. So you can't put defensive tackles into flat zones of any type. So let's go back to that package, which tricks the game into thinking that that is a defensive end, and let's go to work. Now, the really cool thing with this is that I actually have the ability with this to kind of set up 3 safety rule adjustments. So maybe for the sake of this, we go ahead and say, all right, I'm going to put a purple on the weak side because it's harder to roll out to the weak side. I'm going to put my zone drop blue, and I'm going to have a KO outside third over the top when they go to chuck that corner. I want to give myself the best possible opportunity to intercept that corner route. Maybe you play the press on the outside because you know you got it outside third. But the most important part is Carmichael in this 0-yard curl flat. So now, regardless of whether or not they can glitch out that defensive end, whether he's on a contain or a pass rush angle, they can't double team this 0-yard setting. So we go to do this rollout. And boom, I can send Harold Carmichael, and you got no shot to get outside. You don't have to worry about contains, breaking contain, any of that nonsense. Depending on the formation that you're in, you may have the ability to do this to both sides of the field, meaning that, okay, cool, I could go ahead and get that double team on him, but I've got a 0-yard D tackle on both sides, meaning that I could go ahead and do this rollout, but Bakhtiari doesn't care about that, and he's there right away. When you think about it, it's really like creating a really significant twist stunt for rollout purposes. You see how both defensive tackles wrap all the way around the defensive ends out into the flat and make them have to make a decision with the ball quickly. The whole point of this is to roll the pocket and buy time for these corner routes and long developing routes to get open. And we're not affording that opportunity to them. Also keep in mind that with this, if you want to, you can still go ahead and just kind of hedge your bet, meaning that, let's say that I want to put Carmichael in this purple, take away the arm side rollout. Chances are we can user the weak side rollout. I don't need to do this to both sides. So I could leave Bakhtiari rushing, just simply blitz my user to trick the game into thinking 4 guys are rushing. Now we cut their rollout away, so they aren't going to roll out. And then we can still get sheds from the 3 guys rushing, and we're in a good spot. So this is how you're going to be able to deal with the rollout meta without having to worry about contains, without having to worry about what your edge rushers are doing ever again. Without your edge rushers in those 0-yard settings jamming people, got the tools at your disposal. So I hope you guys liked today's video. This is how to get your defensive ends to play the rollout successfully, prevent all these rollout glitchers from beating you. Now, of course, some of them are going to run the ball up the middle on you, but I'd rather deal with that. Bare minimum, maybe try to put somebody with inside stuff there. That way, if they run the ball, you could have the 0-yard setting, but still have inside stuff active to shed. Kind of the best of both worlds. But that is how you guys counter it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Check out our short later this afternoon. I'll yap at you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys Monday. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab in. Good luck.